We are Doug and Nikki. Thanks for joining us on our channel.
Okay, I am interrupting our regularly scheduled flight review, which will go up live in a couple days so you can see the actual review. But in this video, we're going to take the information and our trip here, and we're going to talk to you about what this will be like after COVID, how these travel experiences are going to have to change. So I've brought an expert. I'd like to introduce Nicole.
Okay, so as we started out, you will see that the airport right here on this day, Doug is saying, we have never seen an airport this empty. This was the end of February when it was not a pandemic yet, but I kind of had a feeling, so we were a little prepared. We were still taking our trip. There was very few cases in India, but it was definitely at this point an empty airport that we had never really seen before. This is, JFK.
But now, here instantly, even you can look at these queues, these lines where people would be normally lined up to check in. Obviously, that's going to have to dramatically change.
Here we are at our gate 16. We are waiting to board. So in Qsuite, you get priority boarding. So we are lined up at priority boarding.
Woo!
Okay, so we're ready to board. Again, everything and everyone is very close. The girls taking your boarding passes don't have gloves at this point. We didn't need them then, but that will have to change. Taking your passport, touching everything. They're going to have to wear gloves, masks. And I do believe in this point, you'll see in our next video, I have a lot of carry-on luggage, which I was allowed. However, I do believe they're also going to be limiting the amount of carry-on luggage that you can now bring onto the plane. So, more changes.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Kindly straight and then take.
So take a look at the way this area is all partitioned, with some sitting forward, some sitting backwards. I think this is going to be a little bit of what the future is going to have to look like. So that's why we chose this video to kind of talk about how these seats are arranged, how the cabin is spaced out, to see if maybe this is what travel in the future is going to have to look like. So I hired an expert, and she's going to talk a little bit more about what has to go on to make this a safe way to travel.
Okay, so you'll see how the seats are set up here. In between each of the seats, even within this double bed unit, there's a partition here. So they definitely have a lot of space between each person, plus the partition. You also have a door there on Doug's left-hand side, our right-hand side if we're looking at it. So for this business class seating, honestly, it seems to be something that's already set up and ideal for kind of keeping separated between people. If we're looking at this as an idea for economy, for premium economy, maybe there is some types of partitions or something that can be set up, and that it gives you a little more separation from the person, so there's kind of no touching and stuff like that. Certainly not sharing armrests and things of that nature. Let's talk about menus now. These here that we received are very fancy printed menus. This is like small plates. This one is actually a little bit of a book. Some airlines have those in leather cases. This one is just a printed version. But honestly, I don't think that they're going to do this for every flight, because I'm going to say that menus are something that's going to need to be disposed of after each person uses them, because that's just another way to transfer viruses and stuff if people are constantly touching them. So menus, I think, is also up there on the list of need to throw out after each person.
But they're pretty close here because it is
Yeah.
paper. We've definitely seen ones where they're like kind of leather bound and look like restaurant menus. But I think that's pretty close to what it's going to have to be in the future.
Totally. It's easily done for them, I think. So let's check out what we have in our suites. So when you arrive, you have one pillow and a blanket to start. So you see these types of pillows are going to need to be disposable, or they're just going to not give you pillows. The blankets actually were nice because they are cleaned each time and repackaged. The amenity kits, again, I don't see that there should be a problem with amenity kits because everything in there is single-use products, something that I kind of think will need to happen in hotels again. They were kind of moving away from that, but I think the single-use are going to be the way to go. So I don't see any reason why amenity kits will have to change.
Well, they're going to have to change because they're going to have to give you extra pretty hand sanitizer. Maybe you'll get a fancy Qatar Airlines face mask, something branded. They could take an opportunity there to continue enrich the product and be safer.
Right, that's actually a very good point. So they can now change for the times and put things in that are going to be necessary on your flight, because at some point they might say you're going to need to wear a face mask the full flight. And I don't know, maybe some people will also be wanting to wear gloves. I personally had already sanitized this whole unit, and when I mean I sanitized it, I brought wet wipes and I wiped down everything, but Qatar itself had already sanitized the plane.
So as you can see, Nikki is very naturally kind of touching everything, which is what we all do in regular life. But Qatar was actually an early adopter of going through the plane with an electrostatic antimicrobial spray, which they spray everywhere, which is supposed to touch all the surfaces to disinfect the plane. And they touted themselves as doing that a lot even before any of this happened. But I believe that will have to become a regimented standard with all airlines to disinfect the planes after they're used.
After each flight. So the pajamas, I don't see any reason why this is something that they can't continue to do. You can just take them with you, or again, leave them, because they'll still need to clean up garbage and things from the plane. So, I know that they are something that needs to be cleaned, but in life, things still have to be cleaned. So I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't still give out the pajamas. And it's so nice too, because I always like seeing my husband in his cute pajamas when we fly. So I think that this is something that should stay. There he is, looking cute in his pajamas. So guys, I'm going to jump in here and say thanks for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that bell so you get regular updates. And we are also going to include a link here so that you can see what this flight was like with all of this without all this commentary, and you can get the full experience, because a lot of this is going to be the same, other than minor changes which we are talking about here that they're going to need to make in order to keep all of the passengers safe.
Okay, when you watch our full review, you're going to see lots of silliness here of us talking about the unusual feeling of taking off while facing backwards, because these seats were rearward facing. And the reason we're talking about it now is because one of the ideas that's been put forward for how to make air travel safer is to kind of alternate the seats between forward facing and rear facing,
with partitions in between.
But so that you're not directly facing or addressing somebody else. And so I think we're including this because we both want to say it is definitely weird. Like at this point, your feet are pointing down, yet you're flying up. It is completely a weird feeling, but it's not like sometimes in a boat, if you ride backwards, you get a little nauseous and it feels yucky and it's not good. Yeah. But I think, would you agree that it doesn't feel bad at all?
No, it doesn't feel bad. It's actually kind of cool. It was the first time that we've flown that way. So it was just like a weird sensation, but definitely not anything that's going to make you feel sick. But definitely a good idea, perhaps. Not totally sure. I don't have all the stats on it, but that is definitely an idea.
And so I think, one more idea that they're talking about is they're going to have to put massive HEPA filters in the planes to really filter out the air, which theoretically could kind of make it very safe, because you could really be in a much safer environment than out in the open air in a sense.
Right.
Okay, as we leave this subject and go on to the next one, you need to come back and watch this full video because it is very silly us talking about the flying backwards experience.
And it's really even worth coming back and watching the next one just to see how many cameras they have on the outside of this plane. It was so cool, and you will see them on our screens. You can kind of see what goes on. It's awesome.
And she's a total map geek. You'll see all she's doing is like manipulating the 3D map as we're flying over there. Anyway, it is a great flight, so you'll have to come back and see that full review. And for our final thought, I'm going to steal a little of Nikki's thunder, and I'm going to include a travel hack. Mm-hmm. We did learn towards when we were in India and researching as this virus thing was growing, and they were talking about how to travel safe. If you take the vent that's over your head and like put it on full blown, and it's like really blowing on your face, it kind of creates a stream of fresh air blowing down on you,
and a little barrier
and a little barrier, so that you theoretically shouldn't be as exposed to the germs. We did go and we came back and we are healthy and fine, so maybe it worked. I think it would be worth trying.
Totally. And look, that was the last time my hair looked nice, my nails looked nice. It's been a while.
You still look nice.
Thanks, sweetie.
Okay, make sure you click that subscribe button and go check out the original video.
And we hope that our information is kind of helpful, makes you think a little bit, because you definitely want to make the right decisions before you fly again, and certainly want to make sure the airlines are making the right decisions in order to protect you.
Night-night.